Hey folks, welcome back to Let's Play Allied General. I'm the Mysterious JG. I just did a goofy thing. I'm scrapping an entire video I just recorded because I realized I had forgotten to upgrade my tanks. I was like 28 minutes into a video and realized I had deployed my tanks but not updated them. So we're in the Berlin scenario. I just jumped to the scenario version. Hey, StoneCon17 is playing Factorio, by the way. I jumped in and we're like, yeah, just confirming, the best tank the British get in the war is the Sherman Firefly. So the Sherman tank, it's weird how they call them in this game. It's the GB Sherman. That's the Great Britain Sherman tank, because the Sherman is the sort of nickname for the US M4 tank. And the M4 is a motorway connecting London to the south of Wales. Ask me another one, sir. No, the M4 is an American manufactured tank. And through the Lend-Lease program, the Americans were providing, uh, you know, Woppets to all of the Allies. So for whatever reason, in this game, the British operated tanks are called Shermans. American operated tanks are called the M4. So I was a little curious, like, okay, so how come the American M4 tank, they have the M4A1, they have the M4A3, they have the M4A3E2, there's all these different variations on the M4, because the M4 is the main battle tank of the American Army in World War II. But the GB Sherman Firefly is a better tank than any of those tanks, and is the best tank that the Western Allies have. And that's the reason I had to. I realized I had forgot to upgrade. I'm like, no, this is the best tank that they have, and we're about to fight the most important battle for the West in the war, and we're going to be going up against not the last gasp, but like probably the most concentrated Panzer force that will ever fight. And I left my best weapon on the table. Like, I messed up. That's why I'm having to redo the video I just recorded. So a quick check of Wikipedia. And yeah, like the reason that Great Britain Sherman Firefly is better, I looked it up. It's like, so the British took the M4 tank, which was the Sherman, named after, William Tecumseh Sherman, an American general. And they put like a larger gun, like they did some reconfiguring and changing of stuff, and put a longer, heavier cannon, main cannon, than the M4 was meant to have. And it did, in like real combat, have a much better record at like American main battle tanks were not penetrating the armor of the Panthers and the Tigers, the German tanks. And in fact, a lot of like the cool movies and shit about World War II, like I think a single Tiger tank is like stymieing the force in Saving Private Ryan. That's like people have to go in and like drop grenades underneath these Tiger tanks. They're fucking unstoppable. But the Firefly was actually able to fairly reliably pierce the armor, which other tanks couldn't. And the Americans never put that exact configuration into practice. There was like apparently resistance by this is all the kind of stuff that like. I don't have as many people watching this as we're watching Panzer General. There's multiple reasons. Part of it is just I've lost viewers over the year. I have doing this hobby for a long time. People drift in and out. Another part is just there's a weird core cadre of World War II aficionados who are oddly more interested in the Axis side than the Allied side, honestly. But no, reading up on this, it's like, yeah, just the fact that the Sherman tank was ever even the Firefly variation was ever even deployed is kind of interesting, because the British had their own tank lines that were in design and were getting ready to be manufactured, and the British government was initially resistant with deploying the big 17-inch guns on the US M4 tanks, and were designing their own tanks that were meant to use them. But then those tanks ended up running into all sorts of production problems and had other issues. And the M4 was a reliable body for a tank, and the British had a really good main gun. And putting them together turned out to be the right choice. And I think so. Right now, this is the final scenario of the campaign. I jumped in to see if there's a better tank that ever becomes available, and no, The Churchill 7 still isn't as good. It's got terrible movement, and it still doesn't have as high attack values or as good initiative. I mean, basically, the British never built, during World War II, a better tank chassis than the Sherman, but the Americans didn't equip quite as good a main gun. So there you go. That's now, I mean, while we're here, we can poke around and see. Similarly, we're not getting a better bomber than the Lancaster for level bomber, and we're not getting a better tactical bomber than the Mosquito. So unlike the Americans, where as you keep going, like later and later, they're getting more and more powerful bombers. And even by the end, like you've got the... I guess not. You don't have like the cool... the P-80 Shooting Star comes into Panzer General when you're actually... like the... because it's set later than the battles in Europe, obviously. The fictional German landing on the east coast of America to invade America as the P-80 Shooting Star as the Americans' jet fighter. In this game, you do get to play with the Meteor, which is the British jet fighter. And that's nice. Meanwhile, the French don't have... the French and the Free French and the Free Polish don't get fighter points. Anyway, we don't need to be jumping ahead to this now. So let's... So the other thing, and this is the intro. I'm recreating the intro of the last video that just disappeared. I noted that so last time we won, we got a major victory in Anzio, but I also noted, I wanted to apologize for the terrible singing. Like, I went back and listened to that. I don't think I'm editing it out. If I do, this won't make sense to you. But I opened by singing a little bit of a Pink Floyd song, and now I'm like, oh my god, like I was shocked at how terrible I sounded. Way out of tune. Wasn't a good idea at all. But after getting the major victory, I pulled back, and off screen I went through and got a minor victory using all of the time, because unlike my Panzer General playthrough of years gone by, in this Allied General playthrough, if a major and a minor lead you to the same scenario, or you miss content by getting a major because a minor will give you more scenarios and you have to fight your way to where a major would have put you, I'm going for the minor. In this case particularly, I'll get a major if a major and minor take you to the same scenario, but I'm noticing that the rewards in the Western campaign are really minor prestige rewards for getting a major over a minor. So I'm taking my time and overstrengthening my forces rather than rushing to major. So off screen, and this frustratingly, the 16th M7 Priest unit, they have enough experience to overstrength now, but it was only on the very last turn. They spent every single turn shelling this one very infantry unit in Ardea, and they just have 101 experience to overstrength, but they got it on the last turn, so I can't overstrength them. But I had like my artillery getting free experience beating on these guys, and then suppressed them, got them to retreat using an infantry unit in their transports so I could take the city and get a tiny boost in prestige. So anyway, now that I've wasted a third of this video, let's try and do the first video of Overlord, because that is such a big... You'll see in a minute. I don't even anticipate getting to the end of the first turn in this video. You'll see why in a moment.
Sir, High Command believes our stratagem to be a consummate deception. Jerry is busy safeguarding the Straits of Dover. Tomorrow at Normandy, he will be utterly surprised.
So Overlord, and you can see a unique bit of art for the game. A lot of the... it seems to me like a lot of the Russian and African scenarios use the same recycled artwork, but Overlord gets its own artwork, as you might expect. All right. First things first on the realist. We're going to upgrade... here's Anzac. I didn't even realize what this is. These are the Australian and New Zealand forces. Anzac. I think it's Anzac. I'm upgrading to to bridging engineers. And the reason I'm doing that is because... otherwise, when I try to deploy them on the ground. Hold on a second. I was doing it because I couldn't deploy them on the ground otherwise. They kept deploying in airplanes, and that's not what I wanted. I wanted them to be on the beach. It feels weird to me that our tanks would be the first things on the beach. It seems like our infantry should be on the beach, which is how it is in all of the pre-deployed stuff. So I'm making them bridging engineers because otherwise, if I click on a land hex with them in this scenario, it makes them in a plane to drop down and not get to fight on the first turn. I want them fighting on the first turn, clearing the path for the tanks. Because I have this notion the tanks can't just spill out. I'll probably turn them back to commandos later because of superior movement. But yeah, it was annoying me to have them in airplanes. Although that would mean I could start with my tanks on the shore. But that felt wrong somehow. You see the Sherman is 180, the Sherman Firefly, 230. So it is the most expensive tank. But it is literally the best tank that the Western Allies have. So I should be deploying it as soon as I have it. It was basically built, like the whole purpose, the reason it was proposed was for the Normandy landing. So they would have something to counter the the Panther Ds and the Tigers. And that's why, like, I put 30 minutes into it, and I was even saying as I wrapped up that video, I don't think I can be bothered to re-record this. We'll just go ahead and roll with the mistake. But then I took a break and I read about the Firefly just for a second, and I was like, no, it really became apparent. No, we need to use the Firefly, the Rufus T. Firefly. It was invented for the Normandy landing. And we're going to, I anticipate, face more armor in this battle than we're going to face in any other scenario that remains before us. So we have the GB, so the priest and the sexton, which is I suspect it has much lower movement, which is the reason I wasn't already using it. And then the Cromwell has the same movement. It's got better defense, but inferior attack. So we're not going to be changing that. We have no changes to. Well, I mean, unless the new Spitfires come out. I didn't think it had. I think until we get to the very, very, very end, where I could spend lots of prestige to get jet fighters at a point where we don't really, like, it doesn't matter. Like, a bunch of 15 strength Spitfire 9 units are going to shred the German Air Force anyway. But we could spend the prestige to get them to be jet fighters if we wanted to feel extra fancy. 7-foot 2-inch Python. So that's, yeah, this may be the gun that I think it might be that our primary artillery cannon is stuck into the front of our M4 tanks. I'm not sure. But no, that's our main thing. All right, so let's. I'm gonna try to do this a little faster than I did it in this video that just got eaten by the internet. Basically, we get to choose 3 units to deploy on the ground already. We put my 2 best infantry, kind of splitting the difference between these 2 locations, and these rookie sensation infantry here with one of those 2 infantry units. Now, when they say that the Jerry is busy safeguarding the Straits of Dover, that's over here, right? Basically, they think that we're going to start attacking Cherbourg, which we do have to take, but we don't have to deploy right in front of it. Because, yeah, I think the defenses over there are going to be super nasty. The Americans are basically landing. They're landing here. Omaha Beach. Pointed to who? Omaha Beach is where the Americans are landing, and this doesn't seem to be considered it. Oh, Utah Beach over here. And then, so they've landed troops here, but it's nothing. It's all stuff that is going to get shredded if it charges forward into German artillery. And then, like, Sword Beach and Gold Beach over here, where the British are landing. Juno Beach, Gold Beach, yep. So I think we can throw one elite Firefly unit over here to help the Americans. Otherwise, we probably need to be trying to help ourselves a bit. Trying to get the ground stuff deployed first. Okay. Just going to deploy guys over here to have the maximum possible reach of where they can get to, so I can make decisions later. Oh, and I got one more Firefly that I didn't manage to... Sure, here. It's everybody, right? Okay. So there goes that last video. I just saved over it, and we spent most of our time already with me not getting much of anything done. Interesting things to note here. We have Le Havre over here, which I'm pretty sure they can't do anything. Like, I think I can ignore that until I get to the end where I'm just... If I got turns remaining and I want to do something for prestige, I can come take these places over with, you know, airdropping guys or whatever. But I believe these cities... I don't think any German forces that are there can, like, get out of there by sea and take anything over. We obviously want to grab airfields as soon as we can, but in this particular map, it's a long trip, but your guys can come back to Portsmouth and Southampton. And they give you places to deploy from. So let's see what we can do here. I want a really good suppression on this unit. That came off. Not as well as I'd hoped. Actually, not as well as it did last time. It'd be tempting to do the same to you. Hold on. Did we get, all the ammo there is destroyed. Okay. This isn't exactly what I did last time, but... Ah, damn it. Just hoping not to lose anyone out of this unit. Although, again, its ammo is completely depleted, so that's good. There are some very specific targets that I want to use my limited suppression bombers on. Because I'm hoping to win some of these fights and give other units a place to deploy too. So I've got 1, 2. Yeah, I've only got 2 level bombers left, so I have to be pretty careful how I use them. Could use one up here. Just because that artillery is going to be a real pain in the ass. Although I suppose I could have carefully avoided attacking anything it was supporting for at least one turn. But it felt important to get that off of the ground. I haven't really suppressed any of these guys down here, though, that I'm going to be hoping to take out in the first turn. Like, the strong points are one thing. The strong points are these little pillbox guys. They can attack anything directly adjacent to them, and that's it, which means sometimes you can just avoid them. The forts, these guys, they have it's either 2 or 3 range. 2 range. So they, like, yeah, they can't move either, which means if you can get around them without fighting them, that's good for you, but it's a really good idea to just get them the fuck off of the map. So this is a tactical bomber, too. There's anti-air up here. I don't think I'm actually getting through the first turn, but think I can get my air units deployed and then open up the next turn and see what's the best use of what we got left. Because we need to start digging up some of this entrenchment of these guys that we're going to... Because the first couple turns of this fight are going to be ugly. Once we've broken the front line, then it'll be a little different. But we're fighting with our backs to the water. It's going to start out pretty rough. Yeah, the mosquitoes don't do very much against these guys. They're mosquito... We don't really have, like, super high-end tactical bombers. Their heart attack is only 6. The fact that they are really... Like, they're fighter bombers. We don't get bombers like the Americans have. This guy's got a heart attack of... Well, even then, his heart attack is only 6. His heart attack is 9. Might be able to do something here. But no. You have to beat these forts with usually a combination of suppression bombers and infantry. That was a really disappointing result for that unit, to be honest with you. Just gonna get you up here to protect some guys. What happens if you try to attack them? You get wiped out because of artillery. Which makes me wonder if it's even worth using bombers against them, because we probably just need to get this artillery off the map first. Oh wow, they really suppressed a lot of bombers, but we managed to get one killed. At this point, we're just digging up entrenchment and providing some. Also providing some guys to actually escort our bombers. See, the P-38s never cease to amaze me. They've been kind of terrible against enemy fighters. They are considered fighters. I think of them, what little I know about them, I think of them as like a Pacific War fighter. I guess they were a fighter that would like dive and strafe Japanese destroyers or something, because they seem to be like a fighter bomber, like shitty as like I don't know why they're classified as a fighter. They in this game they feel like a fighter bomber. Terrible results against. I don't know that any unless there's enemy flyers hanging out in Cherbourg, which maybe there are. I don't know if anybody's getting to this. I can use one more fighter to remove one entrenchment from a ground unit, or I can make sure all of my bombers have at least one fighter escort. And I don't want to lose this Liberator. Let's have you come down here, even though there's nobody for you to strafe. Just in case somebody comes out of Cherbourg and attacks. But that should be it for my fighter. Oh no, I've got... Alright, well, one of you guys, I think it's a fighter bomber in disguise. Tactical bomber. Alright, so that actually didn't change much of anything. I still have a bunch of fighters and not... Not like I had a bunch of bombers that I could have done something really interesting with and I didn't realize I had. Man, the Hurricane sucks in this game. It just never seems to be worth using. Let's just talk about how great P-38s are at strafing ground targets, and that one shit the bed. Sorry. You guys... oh yeah, you guys probably have really good anti-air. I probably shouldn't use you here. I guess let's start working on your entrenchment, although it's probably just a terrible idea to attack you in the next turn. So there we go, guys. We're not even going to make it through a single turn, but I always like to use my Air Force at the beginning of a turn, and if there was ever a fight where that's really important, it's this one. So when we come back next time, well, we got our Navy. You know what? Maybe I'll let this go a little long and use our Navy too. We have one destroyer unit, which I think I need to assume there's no U-boats left. They've all been wiped out before we launched our huge amphibious invasion. See, and in the lost video, it was the opposite result. I had no impact on them and lost a destroyer, so... Only suppress, no actual damage dealt. But this is, yeah, the destroyers are an opportunity for us to do some... What is your situation? Artillery. Because you have 4 suppressed. You have 4 suppressed. So using a battleship to really thin out this artillery could be... Well, I didn't get the results I was hoping for, but in theory that could have been very useful. Okay, that kind of evened out. Now you guys have only 2 effective firing strength. Would love for them to be unknown naval units over here, and there kind of are. Don't know if that light cruiser is going to get in range. I have to pick one of these 2 units to deploy here. And then you'll need to move somewhere. Let's hit this artillery hard with our naval firepower and see if we can make... Because they got 2 suppressed. It's already looking a little better, though still not great. Okay, what was like completely unacceptably bad losses before is now like, this may be worth doing. Although now I'm starting to think I should have spent some of that attacking these guys. I mean, I can't just have... I can't put the artillery on the shore yet. Obviously, the answer here is to deploy this Sherman tank. This is why it is here. Okay, I think that's all of my, other than the transports, that's my Navy, and that's my Air Force. When we come back next time, after this slightly overlength video, we will be landing, we'll be attacking with the troops that are landed, landing as many of the troops that haven't already landed as we can, and getting ready for what is surely to be, like, of all the battles we've had so far, I had more losses in Allied General than I had in Panzer General. But certainly Overlord is not where we're suddenly going to not lose units. This was one of the bloodiest battles ever. Catch you next time.